Welcome back to Project 90 Proof, my 1990 Dodge W250 that we're taking to SEMA this year. Just wanted to give you all a quick kind of update on the build and what we're working on right now. So obviously the suspension is almost completely put together. We're waiting on a few parts for my front axle. Kind of a crappy little thing with that, I guess, but Quick Performance has helped us out greatly with that. So once we get that dialed in, we're gonna throw it under the truck and then we should have a fully rolling chassis. Right now we have my bed kind of in the first bodywork stage, and this is currently what we're working on. We have a bunch of parts that are just getting bodyworked and kind of process going through. I'm getting everything ready for kind of like a final sand before I put it back on the chassis to do that so that everything lines up good. I just got my cab back from sandblast, so now we have a ton of bodywork to do on this. In my previous video, you guys saw that I cut this whole front part of my roof out and redid my whole drip rail because it was super rusty. So we were able to get that all cleaned up, and now it's sandblasted and pretty much ready to start the body work. And as for the engine, it is pretty much almost ready to get set in the frame. We just need to put the clutch on that we got from Center Force, so that'll be exciting. My transmission is now painted, so pretty much everything's just ready to bolt back up. I gotta get my transfer case painted, and then we're waiting on my P-pump to get done. And then once that's in, we should be able to put all this stuff on for final assembly. We got my CVF serpentine kit on and everything's looking super good. So I'm really excited to see this go in the frame. SEMA is about like 100 days away now, so we're kind of in crunch time now. Also, as most of you know, I have 3 first gens now, and this bed we actually robbed off of the last first gen that we just got. The inside of it is a little less waved out than my old bed was, and I want it to be a little bit cleaner looking. So we ended up getting this one, and I thought it was pretty straight, and it's pretty good. This side has a couple of little dings and stuff that I've been kind of working out, but the other side had a very extensive bodywork spot, unfortunately, that I didn't know about. So because of how beat up that bedside was, I have been using this Martin Tool Hammer Dolly set from Northern Tool, and it was a very beginner friendly, easy set to use. We do quite a bit of body work and metal work-ish around here, but a good hammer and dolly set is a must when you're doing any sort of body work on anything. Even if there's just little dents and dings, it makes a big difference. So on this bed, right now it is actually in a polyester primer. So we stripped this whole thing down to bare metal just to start fresh, which is why we ended up finding this, which is one reason why I really like to strip things down to bare metal, especially if you don't know, where the parts came from, how many times they've been painted, or if they've been wrecked. This wasn't a terrible spot, but it was just kind of a very large area that needed body work. So I ended up going through and smoothing a lot of it out just in the metalwork stage. And then I did a small bit of body work before we did the epoxy on it. And then we epoxied the whole bed, got it in a good polyester. And a polyester primer is essentially like a sprayable body filler. So you don't want to put a ton on, but if you're putting on something like this, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be blocking most of it off anyway. So it's really not too big of a build, I guess you would say, because that's essentially like skim coating the whole vehicle with filler, but a lot of show vehicles are like that, but we were planning to drive this a little bit to local shows, stuff like that. It's not just gonna be a trailer princess, but we don't want too much product on there to where we're gonna risk chipping or cracking and stuff like that. So getting the metalwork knocked out from the start is one of the best things that you can do. Stripping everything down to bare metal and starting fresh is also one of the best things that you can do for your vehicle. Back to these hammer and dollies. Having a good hammer and dolly set to from the start, whether you're a beginner or trying to upgrade your tools, really makes a difference. This kit comes with 3 different hammers. This kit also comes with 3 different dollies. So you have a heel dolly, a toe dolly, and then just kind of a good general purpose dolly. If you aren't very experienced on hammer and dolly, I highly recommend you go watch a YouTube video of some sort on how to use these first, because if you're not careful, you can stretch the metal and do more damage than fixing it. And then it also comes with a body spoon as well. These are really cool because it's a great way to knock down high spots without putting in like dings that the hammer would put into the body. So if you got some thinner sheet metal and you're kind of worried about all those little dings getting put in there, the spoons are really good for that. So when you're bodyworking something, a good guide coat is very much needed. I would not recommend trying to block something without guide coat because you're essentially just blocking it blindly. So this area was a little dinged up area that I haven't necessarily tried to fix yet. I did a slight bit of pulling with a dent puller, but you lay the guide coat on the area and then pretty much just kind of blocking it in a crosshatch. As you can see so far, this is our black epoxy that is underneath the polyester. So this is showing me that it's a little bit high here, but it's probably only a little looking high because this is so low. You can see that where all the guide coat was left is that it's still low. And you can clearly feel it on this one, but sometimes you get areas like this where it doesn't necessarily feel low, but the guide coat shows that it is a little bit low. And if you're going for something that you want like very straight and nice, this will show up when you get gloss paint on there. So we got that other side pretty blocked out and it's ready for just a nice little skim coat of filler. It's not very low by any means. And like I said, getting your metal pulled out as far as you can before you get to this stage will save you a ton of time in the long run. So this was part of the problem area. This whole area and down is, but I'd like to demonstrate another little area for you guys. So this is after doing just kind of a quick pass, and when I actually go to do this whole entire bed, I will be guide coating the entire thing and kind of blocking it in sections. So I'll do the top section first, and then I'll probably come down to this middle section and then the bottom section. If you're kind of blocking it all as one, it helps it get straighter. As you can see, this is bare metal here, so that means that that is a high spot. These little dark spots here are low spots, and these are high spots starting to come back through. So I'm gonna start going through, tapping some of those down, and then we'll probably finish getting this whole thing blocked out and then start a little bit more of the filler work process. Like I said, I only did a small amount of filler on this area before epoxy because I personally don't like to put a ton of filler over bare metal. For something that's a show truck, it's not necessarily as worrisome, but I always like to play it on the safe side. So I'm really not hitting it hard. I'm just trying to tap it down just enough so that when I go to fill this, I can do a nice smear over this whole area, and when I go to block it through, the high spots aren't gonna keep coming through, because if you tap them down, once you first see them and kind of get them a little bit more leveled out, then that way you're not gonna be smearing it over and over again because you keep having to tap your high spots down. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the video. Stay tuned because we have a lot of large things that we need to get assembled here soon, and we're probably going to be getting a few things in paint soon as well, so stay tuned to see not only the color, but this build finally start to take form.